important market after our home turf. And so we're going to be working very hard to make this fully localized in German as quickly as possible. So we've already been working with the community and some people in the German domestic market to try to figure out how to best bring the game in its full quality to German players. In fact, that actually is an interesting thing to point out about how the game engine works. Another thing that MMOs do traditionally is shards. Are you familiar with the term shards?
Yes, I am. And there's also a game coming out called Shards Online, which is getting kickstarted at the moment, and I have that on my watch list.
Do you know where the word shard comes from and why?
No, I don't know. I know the name Shard. I know the name Shard from Ultima Online. We called them shards. I played on Drachenfels back then, which was called a shard, I guess. But I didn't know why actually. Yes.
Okay, so let me explain it to you. So this is really funny that everyone in the industry uses the term shards, but it really has a piece to do with Ultima fiction. Mm-hmm. So when we built Ultima Online, EA thought the total sales of Ultima Online would be in its lifetime 30,000 units. Which is why they didn't want me to make it. Mm-hmm. And if we only sold 30,000 copies, that would mean maybe 10% of the people would be connected at once. That would be 3,000 people. Yep. So they thought the whole world only needs to hold 3,000 people at once, and then you could make it. Well, if you only needed to make a world that holds 3,000 people, you wouldn't need a very big world. And we thought EA was wrong. We said, EA, we think you're wrong by at least a factor of 10. We think we'll probably sell at least 300,000 copies, and so therefore we need to make a world that is big enough to hold 30,000 players, and that's when we built Britannia. Yeah. So the size that was selected for the world of Britannia was selected to be able to hold 30,000 simultaneous players, and so one server of Ultima Online can hold 30,000 simultaneous players, which we thought would equate to 300,000 sales. Well, as soon as we did the beta test, we realized that 300,000 was way too low. We knew we were going to sell millions of copies of Ultima Online. And we immediately thought, well, we have a number, it's good news, but that brings us up a very interesting problem, which is the world can't hold that many people. We're going to have to make multiple sets of servers. But that made me very unhappy because I actually said I really wanted everybody to be in the same reality, the same world. And if we make half the people go into one world and half the people go into the other, and those two worlds evolve differently, well, they're really in a different world that happens to look similar. One might be more hostile over time, one might be more friendly over time. And so they're not really in the same world. And so I thought, okay, how can I fictionally make these worlds, bring these worlds back together? And so if you remember the introduction movie for Ultima Online.
Was the Mundane or Mordane or something? I remember that.
Mundane the Wizard. Yeah. Out of Ultima 1. And the way you defeated him is you destroyed the gem of immortality, this magic gem that's keeping him alive. And that gem broke into shards. And so what we basically said is that each of those shards had a copy of the world in it at the moment that it was broken. So that's when the story for Ultima Online started, was with the death of Mundane the Wizard. And eventually, the players, by collecting these little shards in the world, might be able to bring those shards back together and reunify everybody back into one metaverse again. And so there was this kind of backstory that, we're in separate shards, but we might someday be reunified. And that the shards were identical to each other in their starting conditions. Well, that term shard is now used in not only all MMOs, but all databases, even professional databases, SQL servers, etc. When they make duplicate shards, they use the word shard. And when I go talk to these guys, I go, do you guys know where the word shard came from? And they go, no. I think it came from gaming, I think. I go, yeah, it did. It came from Ultima Online fiction about Ultima 1 from 1980. And but the point of that story was I'm still against shards, even though I'm the one that started shards.
Yeah.
I still think it's a bad thing. It separates people arbitrarily. And so one of the other technologies we're building for Shroud of the Avatar is everyone is together in the same individual world. But if a city becomes overpopulated, we temporarily make a copy of that city. But in each copy, everyone's house, everyone's vendor, every change to the world state is seen by everyone at all times simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to. But as soon as the town is full of strangers, as soon as there's just 100 people in the room, you don't need 200 or 400 or 800 people in the room. The room is already crowded. So how crowded does it need to be? And we split the room up, and we do so based on your friends graph. So all the people you know, or that you've met, or that you've talked to, get sorted into the same shard, temporary shard, as you are. And so we're building a very completely new type of metaverse.
Does it also apply for enemies? I mean, if you have like PvP, I heard there's clan-based PvP. So if it's divided and I see like half the enemies and the other half is on another cluster or something, how does that work?
No, because those are people you know. So whether you're friends or enemies, that still sorts people to the top of the list of people you should be in the same server.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Okay. One last question. Actually, it's not a question. It's just if you want to tell something to the German community, why should they play Shroud of the Avatar? Maybe, what would that be?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that again?
Like the German community, maybe you can give them a reason why you believe that Shroud of the Avatar is the right game for them to play. What can they expect? Why are they specifically? Why is the game specifically for them?
Yeah, well, what I would say to that is I would say, 10 to 20 years ago, with my work in the Ultima series and the player community in Germany, we're very close.
Yeah.
Meaning Germany was historically outside of my home area. The largest market on Earth.
Even though we didn't have flat rates back then, we had to pay like two German marks for 1 minute of internet.
No, it's completely ridiculous. Despite those challenges, my previous work with Ultimas and the German players, I think resonated very well, and so I'm very hopeful that what we're delivering here with Shroud of the Avatar will not only harken back to the things that hopefully some of the older players remember about what made that series so popular specifically in Germany, but also with the new technology. Not only will it be localized in German as our #1 priority, but because we're getting rid of shards, it means we'll be bringing their communities, the German community and the American community, back together in the same metaverse, and so we'll get more chances to play together directly. So anyway, I hope they like it. At the very least, get in enough to check it out or watch some of the videos on YouTube. Talk to some of the other players that are playing it, because it's interesting when we have announced our intention. People either are often some combination of excited and skeptical. And I think the best way to get over their skepticism is to talk to somebody else who's already playing the game. Because I believe we are fulfilling the promises and the vision that we're describing. And I think that most of the players would agree.
I will start exploring the game now since I have access now, and I'm really looking forward because, like I said, I played Ultima Online in '98, and then I played Lineage 2 for a couple of years, which is also a little bit of a different sandboxy experience. And so I think this is something for some people who have been waiting for years now to get something that reminds them of the old times, maybe. Yeah.
So.
Thanks a lot, Richard. It was great, and I wish you all luck. And thanks again to David Swofford as well for making this possible.
Wonderful, thank you.
And then see you maybe at the Gamescom next year.
Indeed, yeah, I expect to be there. I was just putting it on my calendar a couple days ago.
Great. Okay, then have a nice day. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.